my name is Russ Littau, the founder of the Healing Center. Our website address is www.healingcenter.ca. This video is focused at Reiki practitioners, and so we're going to be talking about using one of the tools of our trade called a symbol. The other thing, this is also going to refer to, if any of you have taken your training through the Healing Center in the last probably even couple of years, you're going to be familiar with some of the circles and triangles that we draw in the workshop, and I'm going to use some of those maps or those diagrams to help support the topic that I'm going to be talking about. And this video was instigated or motivated, if you will, by a question that a practitioner had. And the question was, they had wanted to stop smoking. And so they asked me, do you have any thoughts on how I can specifically use Reiki to stop smoking? And so while this video, sort of, as I said, was sort of motivated by that, it can apply really to any behavior that you wish to change that for whatever reason you seem to be having a challenge changing. Now often, we throw sort of smoking into this bag that that we call addictions, and first of all, when I'm working with somebody who, I don't care whether it's smoking, whether it's eating, whether it's whatever it may be, I don't use the word addiction, right? Because when you think about it, even just listen to the word, doesn't it have just this sort of connotation to it, and I think that's one of the first things is when we start to change a behavior that we've had, for some period of time, and maybe we've tried to change it before, and haven't been successful, especially for an extended period of time, or especially if it's one of those ones that fall into that buckets where they're often called addictions. Even when we think of that word, it kind of almost conjures up this ominous, difficult, challenge, and it's going to be arduous. And often, remember, the way we choose to perceive something plays a big part in the ease at which we can manifest the desire, right? So when I'm working with people, all we're trying to do is change a behavior that we, for whatever reason, are having a little difficulty changing. And it can be very, very simple and very, very easy. Now, will it be that every time? Well, I don't know, but it could be. So my premise for this is, let's start from the place of this behavior is no big deal, and it's no big deal, and by that I mean we can change it, and it won't take a lot of work, and we can be very successful at it, even if maybe we haven't been the last 1, 2, 3, or 100 times we've tried. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to draw you a map that, for me, explains, if you will, the anatomy of a behavior. And as I said, for those of you that have been to any of our workshops, some of these, this diagram here is going to be familiar. All right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a circle, like so. All right? And I'm going to put a band like this. Okay? You can think of this as a map, if you will, of the present moment. Okay, so where is the present moment? Well, it's right here. Wherever you're watching this video, that's your present moment. So think of this as a map of this present moment. So this present moment has two distinct hemispheres, if you will. It has this one here, and this one is the aspect of this moment that fits in our five senses, right? It's the world, if you will, that we experience using our five senses. Now, just as real as this world that we build using our five senses is this piece. And one of the landmarks, if you will, of this piece, and I'm just going to choose one here, is our thoughts. And another one is memories. So here's what I mean by this. You can't take a thought and you can't take a memory and, weigh it on a scale or measure it with a tape measure, or give a color or a taste. But just because it doesn't fit in this aspect of our experience, and one of the labels we use for this one, or the label we use for this, and I'm going to label it P, is this is the physical aspect of this moment that fits in our five senses. I'm going to label this one non-P or non-physical. Now, just because it's non-physical doesn't mean it's non-real, if you will, right? And this is an important thing to remember. This aspect, or this hemisphere of this moment, is just as real as this one. It's just that we don't experience it directly with our five senses. Okay? Does that make sense? All right. Now there's this band in here. I'm going to use a different color actually for that one. I'm going to label this band in here time. All right? So let's look at a behavior. Just simply a behavior. So all our behaviors start from here. We have a thought. It presents itself in our mind. Another label, I'll just use a different one. We could call this aspect of our experience our mind. And actually, the corresponding one is our brain. And I labeled that Brian, but you know what I mean. So, you can take our brain, right, and you can measure it and put it on a scale, right, and the corresponding piece to that, if you will, is our mind, which is the non-physical aspect. It's that landscape in which we think. We don't think in this physical organ. I'll change that right now. I always do that. Right? No, you don't think in our brain. We think on our mind. We see evidence of our thinking in our brain, but this is where the conception of a behavior starts. So it starts here as a thought or a memory, and then, so it has its start here, and then it progresses through time until we get to here, and we have the behavior, right? So we have the initial cause, if you will, or the origin, we could call it all sorts of different names. The origin of the behavior is here, and then it flows through time till it manifests into the physical manifestation of this. All right? Everything that we do has its conception or its origin here. It flows through the period of time and manifests here, including those things we are, quote unquote, addicted to, or those behaviors that for whatever reason we don't seem to be able to change. And here's the reason why. Another way, and we've kind of talked about it already, but when you think about this, and I'll use just one more color, we could also say this aspect of our experience is the past, right? Because a memory, and especially now in this case, a behavior has its origin somewhere in the past. It flows through time, and when you think about it, it presents itself here, in the present. And so what you are looking at changing is actually two parts. It's the behavior, and it's whatever the origin of this behavior was and is. Okay? So as we know, when we're working with Reiki, this is where we work, not here. Right? We work here, we see the effects of what we do present itself here. So the first thing to remember when you're using Reiki to work with the behavior is you're not necessarily changing the behavior. You are helping, supporting, assisting, acting as a catalyst for balance to be restored here, and that's where the origin is. Right? If you rebalance, if you restore, if you release, whatever words you want to use, the origin of the behavior, then this connection will be gone. You see, in a very real way, and again, an addiction or a habit is another word you could use for it. A habit is a pre-chosen behavior, and by that I mean the behavior is chosen based on, you can bet money, a selection of memories. And so what happens is, it's not so much you choosing the behavior, it's pre-chosen based upon a memory or memories. Okay, so why is there good news in this story, especially when we're using Reiki? This is where Reiki works. You restore balance to this, then this connection is gone, and now you regain the ability to choose your behavior rather than having it pre-chosen for you. All right? Okay, so now we come to how we use Reiki and how we use, in this case here, the distance healing symbol, Hanshei Shonen, or a tag that we will use for it often is called connect. Okay? So, this is what we're working at, this is what we're looking at rebalancing is right here. So as you know, and the way we practice and the way we teach it, Hanshei Shonen, the tag we use for it is connection. So it's like it makes a direct connection, in this case, to this. One of the examples we use purely at a physical level is like battery cables, you know, and you connect battery cables to one battery, and then you take the cables and you connect it to another one. So essentially, if you will, that's what we're doing. We're connecting directly to whatever this origin is. Now, many of you practitioners that use the distance healing symbol are going to say, okay, well, that makes sense, but I don't know what this is, you know. So here's a little suggestion on how you may use the distance healing symbol to work with something on this, whether you know what the origin is or not. And it's built upon the understanding that Reiki will find where it needs to go. Right? I mean, if we consciously are aware of it, that's perfect. But even if we aren't, it will tend to flow to where it needs to go. So here's my suggestion. So my suggestion is that you would start with the self-treatment, whatever that looks like for you. And remember, for me, a self-treatment and a meditation are kind of one and the same. So what you're going to do is you're going to start from your self-treatment position, again, whatever that looks like. So you just sort of want to get the energy running, get it flowing, get really nice, sort of into that flow, solid, secure, right? Body's relaxed, mind's clear. And then this is what I would do. So I would, there's a lot of power in asking a question, right? And so even though we don't know what it is, from that meditative place, I would say to myself, I wonder what the root cause is for this behavior that I'm trying to change. Now, it's almost like you are coaxing whatever this is sort of towards the surface, right? And it really doesn't matter whether you can answer or not. You're just kind of setting the stage. And you sort of say, well, I wonder what the root cause for this behavior is. And I wonder what it is that is the origin for this pre-chosen behavior. It is, I guess, if you will, a leading question, but what you're doing is you're helping, if you will, coax this to the surface. And then what I would do is I would say, Hanshei Shonen, connecting to the root cause, if you will, or the origin of this behavior. And just keep doing your treatments. And every so often, you may even use it, sort of like a mantra. You would say, Hanshei Shonen, connecting to the root cause is often the word we use. Hanshei Shonen, connecting to the root cause of this pre-chosen behavior. And again, don't get hung up in the mechanics of the words. Understand the intention and the purpose of it, right? So what you're essentially doing is you're connecting to whatever this root cause is, trusting that Reiki will do what it knows how to do, and that's connect to the root cause. Even though you are consciously aware of it, you as a being are. Okay? Does that make sense? So start your self-treatment. Right? And you don't have to do the sort of the preface if you don't wish to, but I wonder what that root cause might be. But kind of the nuts and bolts of the treatment is you sort of start in that self-treatment, and then Hanshei Shonen, connecting to the root cause of this behavior. And you can label the behavior if you want, it really doesn't matter. And then just run energy, run energy, run energy. And then you might want to say it again. Hanshei Shonen, connecting to the root cause of this behavior. Just run energy. So it's part of your self-treatment, right? And just, it doesn't matter whether you feel something or nothing, just be aware of anything you may notice. You may even have some memories pop up. You may have some emotions pop up, right? But understand what's happening is you're just releasing. This work is going on here, right? And then do that for however long. Again, consistency is more important than duration. So whether it's, 5 minutes a day or whatever, right? But just sort of start nurturing that. And I think what you will find is that things will start to move and change here. And that's what we're looking for. We want it to move and to change, to release. Because as what's stuck here gets flowing, it's naturally going to release. And then you will find that the you that's you, right, will regain more of a power, if you will, to start to choose this behavior or not choose the behavior, but you're very present when you do. You see, often when this pre-chosen behavior happens, you aren't present, right? You catch up later. So what this will do is it will start to put you back in the equation. So you can start to choose, do I want to choose this behavior or not want to choose this behavior? But you're the one that chooses now, not that old memory or memories. Okay? Like, I was going to say anything, like anything, I found the more simpler the technique, the more powerful it is. And it's in practice and persistence that you'll see the results. Excellent. Terrific. Thanks for giving me 15 minutes of your time to share this technique with you. I invite you to try it on whatever behaviors you wish to choose. And, if you have anything you'd like to share with me, please feel free. Again, our website is www.healingcenter.ca. Center is spelled CENTER.ca, and we'd love to hear from you.